All right, we're in. And believe it or not, Amy, this is
So-
number 3 for the day.
Of yours.
Yeah, because I'm my focus ability right now. Like I told you, this is like I've literally been on calls for 5.5 hours, and I have another. I'm like, I can't pay attention. I'm like,
Great. I'm really looking forward to this then.
This is going to be great because I have my pay attention juice. My brain needs its fast juice.
Oh my god. Well, I have chai and a vanilla protein shake in here, so samesies.
Yeah. No, it's like the coaster, right, that I have. I keep trying to make protein shakes, but they keep coming out as margaritas.
That would not happen for me.
I got tagged in another one that was somebody posted something like I got a blender to make smoothies and it turns out I make really delicious margaritas. And another coach tagged me and he was like, I thought that this was Jeff Dalzell for a minute, and I was like, it's good to know that I have branding.
You totally do.
Yeah. Ugh. Branding around that.
Well, it's funny. I've never used my blender to make anything but smoothies because that's where I am in life. It's too loud once Emma's in bed. I can't turn a blender on, make a mixed drink.
I don't like frozen margaritas. I like it on the rocks.
Yeah, I only do like martinis, but those are like the shaker. So we used to joke when Em was really little, like the sounds of her childhood would be like her beautiful lullabies, and then.
Yeah, that's about right.
Good parents here.
Well, we're going to talk about margaritas today, actually.
I won't have much to say. I really don't like them.
We're not. That's upsetting to me that you don't like margaritas. You've never had a Jeff margarita.
It's not. Let's just say I think I would like a margarita. It's that tequila does not like me.
That's fair.
We don't agree.
That's fair. Well, the reason why we're going to talk about margaritas is it's not all that we're going to talk about, but we are going to talk about. We're going to kind of revisit the fit life. So I'm going to call this the one about the fit life part 2.
All right. I like that one.
All right. Because we're going to use this last weekend for me as our jumping off point for that.
I had no idea you were going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep it under wraps, for safety purposes.
Yeah. I mean, you were just like, yeah, I'm canceling Friday's podcast. I assumed it was because it was school vacation week and you and Meg and the kids wanted to do family stuff. And then I was online. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Jeff was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Jeff was in Mexico, which is not where I had never been to Mexico before. I've only been outside the country. This was my 4th time leaving the country. I've been to 3 places. So I went to Jamaica for our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
But that was cool. Not like really Jamaica. I went to Sandals, Jamaica.
Like a resort, right? So it's not really the real thing.
Yeah. Then I've gone to Edmonton twice for a conference, but I've just gone to a hotel ballroom.
So again, you're not seeing
in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And then this one. So this was far and away the most cultural experience that I've ever had in my adult or my life in general. Because we were not in a resort. We were in a small town.
Good. That's how you should travel.
Well, you're
without
talking
children.
To you're talking to a homebody who doesn't, you know what I mean? And so for those of you who don't know context, right? If you haven't already heard, one of the things that I do in addition to coaching is I work with the online trainer mentorship and I coach other coaches on their businesses and things like that. And I've been doing that for a bit, and the owner of the business, his name is John Goodman, one of the more respected.
Not that John Goodman.
Not the actor John Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Goodman. We'll call it Jonathan Goodman. One of the most respected names in the fitness industry.
Mm-hmm.
He owns a company, and he and his wife and his 2 kids live in this little town in Mexico for 3 months out of the year, basically every year. They've done it for the last 6 years. It's called,
that's nice.
I'm not going to say the actual name of the town, but actually I'll say it. It's Sayulita, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about an hour outside of Puerto Vallarta. Small little surfer town. Mm-hmm. And super safe. And so if you ever wanted to go, Place to go.
Escape the February in New Hampshire.
Yeah, which is, we'll talk about that. Actually, I'll talk about that right now. Like, you know how rude it was to go from Mexico, and I got back at midnight Eastern time. It was when I flew back in, and I got back to the C&J bus station at like 1:30 in the morning. And it was, I'm not exact, it was 6 degrees with a wind chill of probably minus 15 at 1:30 in the morning. And I had been by the pool earlier that day. It was so rude. It was such a horrible welcome home.
Yes, all of us here who did not go to a tropical space in February are really just, we feel for you.
You should.
I'm glad you made it through.
You should. You should.
I'm glad you survived that. I was on a ski mountain and then on cross-country ski trails with my dog, which was so fun. She didn't trip me. That was pretty exciting.
That's a win.
Yep.
That's a win.
Okay, continue.
Well, so he brought the whole team down. So I left on Thursday morning. We were down there for the weekend, came back on Sunday. So it was a quick little trip, but we were down there and it was great. And I want to talk about, if you haven't heard this concept of the fit life before, you can listen to the other episode, the one about the fit life, where I first kind of coined this phrase or thought of this phrase in this concept. And again, it's based off of Ramit Sethi, who is a financial advisor, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, his concept of the rich life, which is you can define what it is for yourself. And so I think that these pair really well together because John Goodman is one of the best examples of living your rich life. Because this is a guy who, has done fairly well for himself, right? Best-selling author, owns a couple of businesses, just has done fairly well for himself. The dude wears a Casio watch, and he's like proud of it, which are like $12. He's got like 6 shirts and 5 pairs of pants. Like he literally packs up his entire life in a backpack. Like he just he doesn't have a lot of material things, but he flew 12 of us to Mexico for the weekend and paid for us to do it. We had a great night, a dinner out. The first night we went for a hike into the jungle one day and had lunch afterward. That night we took golf carts 30 minutes into the jungle and popped out at some random like isolated beach, watched the sunset over the Pacific, had private taco stand on the beach and a guy with a guitar singing for us.
It sounds like
under
a movie.
The stars. It literally, I was like this isn't real life.
Yeah.
Like this is not real life. And then the last night he paid somebody to come and cook for us at where we were staying at like this little apartment complex. And we just ate there. And he spends 3 months of his life in Mexico. Next year he's going to go, I think he was talking about, I don't remember, he's going to be gone for 6 months. They're going to be out of the country. I think it's like Bali in Greece or something like that. This is his rich life. He spends on the things that he cares a lot about, and he spends extravagantly, and he doesn't care about other things, so he doesn't spend a lot of money on clothes. He doesn't spend a lot of money on watches. He doesn't spend a lot of money on cars. He doesn't spend a lot of money on a lot of things. He just spends the money on the things he cares about. And you get to define what your rich life is. Some people love watches, so they get nice watches. Some people love clothes, and they get nice clothes. I don't particularly love to travel, so I don't travel very often. But Megan and I love to go out to eat. And so we go out to nice restaurants. Some people are mind blown that we go out to nice restaurants 2+ times a month. Like, how do you do that with 3 kids? And it's like, well, we choose to prioritize that versus other things. So this weekend, though, was the personification of my fit life in a lot of ways. Okay. Which was actually, it's like the weekend plus. So like into the next couple of days. So you think about fitness, people oftentimes, I think about fitness goals fall into one of three categories. We talked about this on the pod before?
Probably.
I feel like, all right, one of three categories. And they all are interwoven, right? But there's three categories of fitness goals. Goal number one is aesthetics, how you look. So that's, I want to lose weight. I want to build muscle. I want to feel good in my clothes. I want to feel better naked. I want to have a six-pack. I want to grow my glutes. I want bigger arms. Aesthetic goals, how I look, how I feel, those types of things. There's nothing wrong with those goals at all. All of these goals are totally valid. Second category of goals is performance. I want to have more energy. I want to feel stronger. I want to have less pain. I want to be able to run a marathon. I want to be able to play basketball better or golf better. I want to be able to throw my kids up in the air. All of those types of things, performance goals. The third type of goals is longevity or health. I want to improve my blood pressure. I want to get off of blood sugar medications. I want to, combat my gut health issues. I want to feel better and know that I'm around, doing everything I can to be around for the long haul. Okay. And again, all of those are interconnected. You don't really pursue one at the expense of others unless you take it to its fullest extent, right? As an example, bodybuilding at its fullest extent. If you pursue bodybuilding and you get super duper duper lean, you are not going to perform as well. And you're also probably not doing as much, a lot of things really great for your health. Right. Like if I was to get down to 4 or 5% body fat, right? Women lose their periods. You're not as strong. You don't have as much energy. You feel like garbage, and it's not necessarily healthy for you. So any of these in extreme out of balance is going to negatively impact all of them. But for the most part, if I lose weight, I will improve my health markers. If I lose some excess body fat, if I build muscle, I will improve my strength and my performance and my energy, right? These things are all generally woven together. But typically, there's one thing that leads the charge for every person during every different stage of their life, right? Like, hey, the big driver for me is I would like to lose weight. I want to feel better in my clothes. Big driver for me is I want to have more energy to play with my kids. Whatever it is. All of these have those different things. But again, you get to pick what those things are. So this is your fit life. When you define your fit life, it's like, all right, what would this look like if I had everything I wanted? If I could snap my fingers and I had everything I wanted, what would this look like? Right? And it's a lot of the times it's the cost piece of it. What do I want to be able to do? Because a lot of people are like, I want to look like Zac Efron in Baywatch, but I also want to be able to drink every night. And it's like, well, I mean, that doesn't work. Like
those don't go together.
You can't have both. And so you have to figure out, what am I willing to pay for a cost in order to get there? And so this weekend is a great example of that. So leading up to this weekend, I don't know if I talked about it much on the pod, but I did an 8-week mini cut, fat loss phase. That actually probably ended up being 6.5 weeks with being sick.
Because you got sick, yeah.
I got sick, and then there was a week where I lost so much weight from being sick that I ate at or above maintenance for a week just to stabilize again. So it was probably 6.5 weeks that I did it. But it was 8 weeks overall, so we'll just call it 8 weeks for simplicity. And I was I did it, one, because it was the beginning of the year, just to kind of show people hey, this is what the scale does, whatever. But it was also hey, I'm going to Mexico. I want to feel confident around a pool of trainers. I want to feel confident, you know what I mean? And anybody who tells you that comparison is the thief of joy, it's you're not wrong, but
still gonna happen.
That doesn't do me any good, right? The idea that I'm gonna sit there and not have thoughts and feelings is foolish. Oh, just be fine. It's no, come on now.
Calm down.
Yeah, it's listen, I was around a pool with it's a weird thing for me. I've never had a short thing. I've never thought I was short until I was no. But I was at the first time I went to a fitness conference, I realized that so many people are huge. I was standing in a circle where I was the shortest by 7 inches of like 5 dudes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then there was a couple of women too that I was like, you're a giant too. Like, what is happening? Am I short? Like, it was a moment where it doesn't really matter how confident you are in whatever set. It's just like, hey, it's a natural thing. We're human. And I was like, man, am I short? Like,
are a lot of professional trainers former like pro or semi-pro athletes? It feels like a kind of a natural progression.
Sometimes. I would say it's actually a smaller percentage than you would think. Especially professional athletes. Professional athletes oftentimes, this is going to sound weird, professional athletes oftentimes are too good for training. Like, it sounds like they're like, I can do different things and bigger things. And they also don't really want to.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, they want to do motivational stuff or business stuff. They've done it for so long. They're like, I'm good. Like, they're not going to just be in a gym and be like, I played in the NFL, but now I'm going to watch you do your bench press. It's like, that's just not what they're going to be about. It's a lot of times like former athletes, like like me in high school or college or something like that. I think most trainers played some sort of sport growing up at a somewhat competitive level, but not everybody has. But yeah, I don't know why it's just a bunch of giants.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling. And now that's not necessarily always true. Like, John Goodman will be the first to tell you he's not very tall. Like, John Goodman's not very tall. And so there are some people who are like not giants, but several are like, it's like, oh, you got to be 6'1" to be a dude. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I get mad at my brother because
he is tall, isn't he?
My brother's 6'3". And I'm like, dude, we could have
shared the wealth.
That's what I'm saying. We could have split the difference and both been over 6 feet tall. But he had to be, just better at me at everything.
Is he a better singer?
You could make that argument. He's certainly a better musical talent.
Does he dance better to Carol of the Bells?
I don't think that's possible.
There you go. See? You win.
But again, like, I feel like I win that against everybody.
It's true.
Like, I don't know if it's a universally. I don't think anybody else has tried.
I think that's what it is. But nobody needs to know that part. Nobody needs to know that there is no competition. Just that you have won it.
I've won the competition. I've won by default. So I was doing this mini cut going down to Mexico, and I felt good about where I landed. It was like, felt lean, felt good. And I went down there, and this is like the epitome of the fit life for me, right? So like, all of this is gonna sound very odd, composed together. So like, I walked well over 10,000 steps every day because we were walking around town. We were hiking in the jungle. We're walking around town, well over 10,000 steps every day. I had protein in every single one of my meals because every single one of my meals was a taco or a burrito. And so they all had fresh ingredients, though. It was like super fresh ingredients. They had vegetables, they had protein, and they were delicious. I ate like solid meals, like at regular meal times. Walked over 10,000 steps a day. We did like a kind of a cursory workout on our first morning there. I was chatting more than I was actually lifting weights, but
what?
Whatever.
That's how I work out. That's my secret sauce.
I know, but that's how I do it. And we did all of that, right? Which was great. I felt capable, even though I felt great by the pool. Felt really confident to hang out by the pool. Not comparing him to anybody. It was just like, I felt great hanging out by the pool. I felt confident to go for this 6-mile hike into the jungle, even though I hadn't been on a hike. I don't think I've hiked, certainly not that extent, and I don't think I did anything to that extent even last summer. But I hadn't hiked at all since last summer, so it would have been 9 months or something like that. And I hadn't done anything to that extent in 18 plus months. But I was like, I have no hesitation on my ability to step into something that is unfamiliar because I know that I've been training in a way that is adaptable to a different scenario. So again, my fit life is being able to say yes to the things that I want to be able to do without hesitation, even though I don't necessarily think that I was trained for them. All of that was like, or you'd be like, oh, that's what a bunch of trainers do on their vacations, right? Like walk a bunch and do all this. I also had an indeterminate number of margaritas. Like it is on the board. It's certainly the most that I've ever had in a 36-hour span. Or no, longer than that. 72-hour span is 3 days. Like I landed at like a little bit less than 72 hours, probably 65 hours or something like that I was down there. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Is it like when you get to Hawaii and they give you the lei? When you get to Mexico, they give you a margarita? Is that like how it goes? I mean,
I could have. But no, it was... So the first one I had was when I went out. We went out to dinner that first night. And I had a couple when I was out that night. We came back and we had a couple more, right? And then... Because I was making them. So this is the other thing. Like, who's making the margaritas? Jeff's making the margaritas. And everybody was like, man, you make strong margaritas. I was like, I didn't realize you were lightweights. Because my margaritas are not necessarily strong tasting. They're not. Like, they taste delicious, but they'll get you. They'll sneak up on you. Like, you have a couple of those and then you stand up and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? But I don't normally have more than one that I make myself, maybe two. And so like having, 3 or something, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even see straight. So stayed up way too late, right? Hanging out and chatting with these folks. Had several, after the hike and all of these things when we're on the beach, all of this, right? And so that's kind of the flip side of it. And I came back and I was up over 6 pounds from when I left. I was back right around the weight that I started my cut at. And I think the immediate knee-jerk reaction from folks is like, oh, I can't even enjoy myself. Right? But to me, this is a weird maybe a weird take on things. I saw Harrison Ford do an interview, and people were asking him like, how is it to do XYZ stunt or thing? Like that had to be hard. And he's like, hey, look at me. That's what the money's for. Right. And it's a funny joke, but it's a little bit of like, what is the purpose of the thing? Right. Like, is it self-fulfilling? Like when you think about wealth and money, the point of having money is not to necessarily just make more money. Like to some degree, yeah, we need to make more money and we do it, but it's like, hey, it's to live the life. And so like we had this, Megan and I had this conversation last night where we were talking about, Levi went to a thing right down the road from us. It's called Kids Strong in Stratham. It's like a kids gym, right? And he went for a trial thing and loved it, right? Good. Like instruction, like kind of gymnastics and whatever. Had a blast with it, and we've been wanting to get him into something like that. But it was like this is what it costs to join. I was like, that seems like that's more expensive than it would cost for the amount, like on a per class basis for an adult, to go to the thing. And I was like, oh jeez. And then we were talking about it, and Megan and I were talking about it last night. And I was like, listen, it's not an inconsequential amount, and also, his brother's going to want to do it. And if his brother's going to do it, then we also need to find something for Charlie to do. Right. So now we're pot committed to this, and it's multiple hundreds of dollars every month if we did all 3 of these kids. And so it's like, okay, are we going to do this? Are we going to do it? It's not to say that we can, or whatever it is. It's just like, all right, what's the cost of this? And like, are we saving for retirement, paying off the house or saving for the next house or whatever it is? And I don't know if we're necessarily going to do it or if we're going to like look around for another option, because this was our first thing that we tried. But I said to her last night, I was like, this is what the money's for, right? Like, this is why we work, is because we want to be able to do these things with our kids. And so, like, what are the things that we don't care about? Like, if we want to do this, if this is actually super valuable for us and for them and him to have this experience, and we think that this is worth it, this is part of our rich life, then we have to cut costs on other things that we don't care as much about, because we can't just be like, all right, yeah, we just have this money that we could set on fire, because we don't. Nobody has money they can just set on fire. But it's like, okay, if we want to make this happen, where can we find that margin? What are the things that we're willing to cut back on? You know, is it like, hey, do we decide to cut back on one of our date nights every month? I don't, and then like immediately, like, no, that's a no. Like, we're not going to do that. Because that's valuable to us. All right. What are the things that maybe are not as valuable to us?
Right.
Where we can find it? Or can we go make more, right? Have more on the other end where we have more margin and we're able to do this. But it's like, does this matter? Like, this is what the money's for. So we think about, like, why did I cut weight to go to Mexico? To feel confident in Mexico. Right? So the fact that I gained the weight back doesn't really matter all that much. And also, it went down 4 pounds the next day. It was because I got home at 1:30 in the morning, fell asleep at 1:45 in the morning. I fell asleep by 2, and Levi woke me up at 4:30 the next day.
Oh, what a
and
nice
I was
gift.
on duty, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it was like, I got 2.5 hours of sleep, and I traveled all day. Like, of course, I'm going to be retaining a bunch of water. I probably only gained a pound and a half of, like, actual fat. Well,
of taco.
Yeah, of taco and margaritas. But it's also like, I want to be able to do the thing. I want to be able to do the thing. Like, I'm okay with having, like, all right, if I wanted to go to the fullest, the leanest that I could possibly be, right? Try to make myself look like Zac Efron in Baywatch, right? I could probably do it. I probably could do it. And honestly, probably look pretty rad, right? Like, I could, it would probably look pretty dope, you know? But I'm going to be honest with you. What?
Rad.
Yeah. It would be pretty dope. But it would suck.
It would.
A lot.
Yep.
And I did this for like a minute and a half, basically, when I was like, and I still have these photos that I haven't put anywhere. But I had Megan do some shirtless photos of me, probably 18 months ago, something like that, at the gym. And I knew I was going to be doing this. I was like 10 days out from it. And I was like, I'm going to do these shirtless photos. I probably will never do them again. And I don't even know if I'm going to put them anywhere. But I was like, I'm a trainer. I should have shirtless photos. I don't know why I thought that, but I literally have never used them. But I was like, I should have shirtless photos. I don't, again, this is just where, again, in comparison.
I think it's more of a gift for your wife. Like,
no, I don't think.
When she's 85, she'll be like, look at this. It'll be very cute.
You saying I'm not going to be ripped when I'm 85?
Yeah, I am.
No, I'm going to be ripped when I'm 85. I'm going to look like J.K. Simmons in the Santa Claus movie.
That was an excellent movie. It
was.
It may have knocked Love Actually out of its place in my need to watch every Christmas. I know. Wow. I mean, obviously, Muppet Christmas is still number one. Obviously.
The Santa Claus? Not a fan of the Santa Claus.
No, I'm not a Tim Allen fan. I think he's funny, but I don't know. There's something about him. Sorry.
He's got an MO.
We can agree to disagree about Tim.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily an advocate of Tim Allen or anything like that. It's just the Santa Claus is just a nostalgic thing for me.
Yeah,
it's what I grew up with.
Yeah, it's the age difference. Yeah.
I grew up with that. I don't remember how we got there. J.K.
Simmons.
Shirtless photos. All right, there we go. We got there. Jeez, that was a rabbit hole. Shirtless photos. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do these once. Let me get as lean as I possibly can for these photos. And then I did it for literally less than a day. Like what the final cut would be to do it, which is like where you have to just basically eat vegetables and protein for a period of time, like, and you manipulate
cut
your
your
water and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I did it for like actually less than a day, and I was like cranky, and I was tired, and I was irritable with my kids, and I was just like, I don't want to do this for 10 days. I don't want to do it for 10 days, because also, like, that's not necessarily what I'm selling. Right? Like, people don't come to me to look ripped out of their minds. That's just not, like, go somewhere else for that. There are people who are better for that than me. It's just not my style of coaching. And again, have never used them. But also it's like the cost isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
The cost isn't worth it for me. And so it's like I don't want to do that enough in order to get the thing. And so it's a little bit of like, what is it that I want? What is it that I want out of this? Like, I want to be able to enjoy pizza night with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to have date nights with my wife and not really stress about the fact that we got an appetizer or a dessert or a drink or all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't want to have to go to Mexico and be counting my drinks or have to get a skinny margarita because that tastes like trash. Like, I just want lime juice and tequila. I'm like, are you a psychopath?
What
like,
else is in it? I don't even know what's in it.
You need
margarita.
a sweetener in it. You need like agave or simple sugar or something. Otherwise, it's just sour tequila. And if you like skinny margaritas, that's fine. You can make your own choices, right? Like, that's the thing. But like, I don't want to have cauliflower pizza with my kids. I want to have the real thing, right? That's something that matters to me. So as a result, I'm not going to look like Zac Efron in Baywatch.
Right.
And I have to be okay with that trade-off, right? John Goodman, maybe he actually likes clothes. Maybe he actually would be interested in a Rolex. But he wants to be able to live in a Mexican seaside country and fly 12 people down there and pay for them to have these experiences. That's a Rolex. That's a Rolex. Like that, the cost of this trip was a Rolex. If we're honest, like what it would cost for 12 people to fly down there and pay for the stuff. Like, I don't know what level of Rolex because I don't know the ins and outs of what that cost him, but like, it wasn't.
I don't have Rolex money.
No, but it's like it's not to say that he wouldn't want it. He just doesn't want it more than this other thing.
Right. He's chosen his balances.
You choose your thing. And so this is the key to the fit life, right? The fit life and the rich life, it's about freedom. It's about freedom to choose the things that matter to you and to say no to the things that don't. The freedom to say yes to the things that you want and no to the things that you don't care about. That is the fit life. And so when you're working toward all of these things, like if I know that like, hey, I'm not healthy right now, I have to make different decisions. I have to make different decisions. I have to say no more than I would like to. If I don't have enough money, if I have a ton of debt, I don't get to say yes to as many things that I want to do. I just don't get to. I have to make other decisions. Like I have an OTM student right now who is climbing out of debt, and I'm helping him kind of climb out of debt, and he's doing well with his business and everything like that. And he was like, we're talking about a book called Profit First, is a concept of how you manage your money. And so you set aside money for profit. And he was like, what do I do with this profit? I'm like, honestly, dude, right now, that needs to go to paying off debt. I would like for you to be able to do something cool with it. At some point, you will be able to do something cool with your profit. Right now, you have to pay off debt. And that sucks. But like, don't get in debt. Next time, don't get in debt. And then as soon as you're out of debt, then you can do cool things with it. It's the same thing. Like people are like, oh, how is it that I'm able to, like, it's a weird thing when you become a trainer or a nutrition coach. It's an odd thing because people apologize to me for like the decisions that they're making with their own life as if I care. They're like, I don't always do this. And I'm like, you could do it all you want. That's your choice.
Right.
You get to decide. And again, your fit life could be like, I'm cool at, I could have 20 pounds to potentially lose. And again, there are some objective markers where you're like, hey, you probably would be healthier at this point, but like you get to choose. You get to make that choice for yourself. But people are oftentimes like, how is it that you're, you drink so many margaritas and you fit? I'm like, well, because I don't do a lot else, guys. I don't. Like, I don't have, we talk about it all the time. Like, I don't have the Oreos.
Yeah.
The Oreos don't live in my house. I don't do the mindless snacking pieces. And it's not because I'm more disciplined than you. It's because I want to have the margarita. It's because I want to have the pizza. And I want to feel guiltless about it. I want to feel free about it. I don't want it to be like, oh, I feel bad about eating this pizza. I want to eat the pizza and I want to enjoy every bite of it. I savor every bite of it. and there's no guilt. You know what tastes like crap? Guilt. Guilt tastes like crap. You know what tastes fantastic? Freedom. Freedom. You know what that pizza tastes like? It tastes like freedom.
Where do you get your pizza, or do you make it?
No, I'm not making it. Okay. I can't make it as well, right? Like
That's
making
true.
it would not be part of my rich and fit life.
You're like, man.
We get it from oftentimes New England pizza, right down the road. Again, is it like
front row?
Front row for me was a little too doughy.
No, their sauce is amazing.
I don't disagree with you, but it was a little too doughy and too thick, and I couldn't have as much of it. So that's the other thing.
Okay,
like, I don't.
All right.
I like
right.
just.
I see that.
I like just cheese pizza now. Like I don't like. I like barbecue chicken pizza or whatever it is, but I can have like a slice and then I'm full. Right. Or I like feel uncomfortable. I can have 3 slices of cheese pizza and be totally fine.
I also don't want anything to like take away from the flavor of my pizza. I only get cheese pizza because I'm like, I want my pizza to taste like pizza. I don't want my pizza to taste like peppers. I don't want my pizza to taste like pepperoni. I will eat that when it's time, but like pizza for me, cheese every time.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's just better. Yeah.
And so I do the pizza, right? And again, I do the real thing. I do the margaritas. I do the real thing. I want, and there's no guilt whatsoever. But people are like, how do you do that? How do you eat pizza and drink margaritas while you're losing weight?
Well, you're also not doing it every day.
No, I'm not doing it every day. And I'm also, that's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
So again, we've done this math before, but I'll do it again, right? If I'm trying to lose weight, very simple, right? I'm going to do the math for you right now. If I was trying to lose weight and I went here and I said, okay, 500 calorie deficit every single day, right? We've talked about this before. Times 7 days is 3,500 calories in a week, which is a pound a week, right? Very simplistic, but let's just say that that's what it is. Okay. And normally my dinner is 500 to 600 calories. Like that's just what my dinners end up being. And so if on Wednesday I go into dinner when I would normally have a 500 to 600 calorie dinner, and that would put me in my deficit, and I have 3 slices of pizza and then a salad with some chicken on it, that probably becomes 1,000 calorie dinner ish. Okay. So all that I did that day was I reduced my 3,500 calorie deficit for the week down to 3,000 calories. I'm still losing 6/7 of a pound. What happens when I have 2 margaritas? That's another 500 calories. I dropped it to 2,500, which is 5/7 of a pound. The reason why other people can't do this and lose weight is because they don't let those live in isolation. And you do more than that. I choose those things. Again, when we were in Mexico, why did I feel no guilt whatsoever having, I think on the 2 full days we got on Friday and Saturday, I think on both of those days I had somewhere total, but throughout the day, somewhere around 5 or 6 drinks, which for me is an asinine amount. Like I don't do more than 3 ever.
Yeah.
Now it was over the course of the whole day, so I was never really buzzed, but like 5 drinks is a lot of calories. How is it that I didn't feel guilty about that? 1, I walked 15,000 steps both of those days. 2, I didn't snack any of those days. I just had my tacos, and I had a reasonable amount of tacos, and I loaded them up with a lot of protein and a lot of vegetables and not a bunch of random things. And also, I was like, I'm cool if I'm a little over on these 2 days. Literally 2 days. I might have gone over. Let's just say that I went over by 1,500 calories on both of those days. I went over maintenance by 1,500 calories on both of the days. You want to know what that is? Less than a pound. It's less than a pound. But the reason why other people have a hard time is because the 5 margaritas leads to another 4,000 calories of eating decisions. And so you got to pick your spots on the things that you really, really care about. I left food on the table at times, which might sound appalling to people. It's like, no, I just left it on the table. I just didn't eat the food that was not appealing to me. I didn't have to be part of the clean plate club.
This is a new thing for me, leaving food on my plate. That's how we grew up. Can't leave the table till you've cleaned your plate. Then that kind of sticks with you.
Yeah.
And it's probably within the last year that I've been like, I can stop eating when I'm full. I'm a grown-up. I can make that decision.
Well, here's the other thing. You ready? And this is a quick little tip, insert into the conversation, because I had this conversation with a client this week. What are people really struggling? They eat their kids' leftovers. And
Oh,
they don't
God.
actually want them, right?
No.
I come down after bedtime, and there's the dino nugget that's been sitting there for 2.5 hours, and it's
Gross.
cold.
Gross. I mean,
But
they're
people
delicious when they're hot, but not 2.5 hours later.
Well, but people eat them because they're there.
They're
You eat them
there.
because they're there. You want to know what
Mhm.
you do? Tell your kids, if you're not eating it, throw it away.
Yep.
Throw it away.
Mhm.
That's part of you being part of this house, is if you decide that you're not going to eat it, then you have to throw it away.
Mhm. Yeah, we do that.
Just throw it away.
Yep, sideline
And
by the
don't give me
dog's
the
bowl, give her
children-
what she can have, and then she
Yeah.
scrapes the rest in the garbage.
Don't tell me there's the children starving in Africa. They're not getting your food.
They don't want your, by the time it gets to them, month-old dino
because
nugget.
Well, and it's not getting to them.
Right.
It's not getting to it, like, eat the money. It's like the money's gone. Like, you are
Mhm.
not a garbage disposal.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't add value to you to eat food that is worth being in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
You are not a garbage can. Don't
Mhm.
eat garbage food. Like, choose the things that you actually care about and turn the dial up on it. So this is what Ramit calls money dials with the rich life. Did we talk
Okay.
about money dials when we did this
I
last
don't
time?
think so. This doesn't
Okay.
sound familiar.
All right. So money dials. This is the concept. Money dials is like, again, is it clothes? Is it health? Is it travel? Is it
Mhm.
eating out? What is it? Your house? Is it your car? What are the things that you really, really love?
Mhm.
Everybody's got one or two things that, like, give them, like Marie Kondo, spark joy.
Travel and
You know,
food for me.
Like travel and food. And so for you, the question that Ramit would ask you is, what would it look like for you to spend extravagantly on travel?
Oh God, I don't know, because I don't think I'm capable of that.
No, but like, dream about it for a minute. What would it look like?
Stay in a really nice hotel, not
Really?
a cheap one, so that we can hit more places.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay in a really nice hotel. Maybe travel, fly business class.
We did that once. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is magical.
Like, but like, even just seeing your response to that versus my response to that
Mhm.
is like, oh, okay, like this would be a big thing for you.
Mhm.
Right? So Ramit asked the question, like, what would it look like for you to fly business class to wherever? Like, pick a
Mhm.
spot. Where's the next spot that you want to travel?
I haven't been to Ireland yet. I'd really like to
All
go
right.
there.
You're going to fly business class to Ireland.
Mhm.
You're going to stay in an incredible hotel, and you're going to have all of the experiences that you want to do. Like, what would that cost, right, for you guys to do
God,
it?
I don't even know.
It probably costs, I don't know, $12,000-$15,000.
Probably for just the two of us. Yeah.
Yeah. $12,000-$15,000. Okay, so that's what it would cost. Like, that's the
Mhm.
rich life version of it, right?
Yeah.
That is the equivalent of me having the real margarita, right?
Mhm.
Like, hey, that's the thing I really, really want. I really, really want. I'm going to turn that dial up. How do
Mhm.
you turn that dial up? You're going to turn
down the
a
other
lot of the other ones
dials.
really down. So then you've
Really
got to
down.
think about, what are the
Mhm.
things that I really don't care about?
Cars.
Or maybe cars. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna downsize my car.
Mhm.
I have a car that is worth 18 grand, right? And I'm gonna downsize it for a car that's worth 10, 12. It's probably
Mhm.
just as reliable as an
Mhm.
$18,000 car. You know what I mean? It's fine. But
Mhm.
what did I get there? I got myself half
Half a trip.
of my trip.
Mm-hmm.
Half my trip. What are the things that you care about where it's like, I'm going to cut costs mercilessly on the things
Mhm.
that I do not care about, and I'm going to ratchet it up big time on the things that I really do care about?
Mhm.
I don't drink mediocre drinks.
It's a waste.
I don't eat bad pizza. I don't eat chips. I don't eat I got offered chocolate yesterday at the gym. I was like,
Rhonda?
oh, this is yes. She was
Yeah.
like, this is
Oh, I got
Italian
some.
chocolate.
No, it's
Yeah.
Swiss.
Swiss chocolate, right? And she was like,
Swiss.
this is the best chocolate you'll ever have. And I was
It
like,
is.
I'm sure that it is, and I appreciate it, but no thank you. It's not because I hate chocolate. I actually like chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But like, again, it's a principle
Mm-hmm.
of like, no, I don't need it. Like, I would never have gone to the store to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wouldn't go to the store to find it, if I wouldn't seek it out, I'm not going to say yes to it just because it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I do that? Because then, when the night before, when Megan and I went out to dinner, I had myself a pear margarita, and some mushroom bruschetta, basically. And it was like, instead of tomatoes, it was mushrooms. It was delicious.
That sounds really nice. At
you
Cure?
know where it is? You know where it is?
Cure.
You got to go to Cure. My gosh, I need like a commission structure from Cure.
For real.
Oh my God, I got to talk to Kate about that. Referral bonus from Cure. No, it's delicious, right? And then I had my duck with risotto, and it was unreal. Unreal meal. No qualms, no guilt, no hesitations, because I said no to a lot of other stuff. Said no to a lot of other stuff, because then I can focus on the things that I really care about. And by doing that, I still am able to feel confident without my shirt off. I feel strong enough to go lift with a bunch of trainers, even though we were chatting a little bit. Like, I kept up with everybody. Like, I was fine. You know what I mean? Like, I told you when I went to Edmonton, I went and I did a workout with 3 of those giant dudes. And they were like, let's bench. And I hadn't flat barbell. This is the hike all over again. I hadn't flat barbell benched in over a year. And they're like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, let's do 245. I had literally never done 245 for more than 2 reps. And I did 5.
Nice work.
Not to toot my horn, but it was like, hey, listen, I've been training and I'm fine. I can say yes to doing the thing. If in 3 months somebody was like, hey, impromptu trip, let's go somewhere, anytime I could take my shirt off. I don't need to prep for it. I'm ready. I feel confident. I feel fine. I feel good in my clothes.
Yep.
Now, is it all the time? Am I perfect with it? Of course not. Of course not. But it's a setup where I'm like, hey, I'm able to say yes to the things that I care about and no to the things that I don't care about. And then this is the final piece of the rich life, or the fit life for me. Came home. Kids are all sleeping. Drop everybody off. Monday night. Obviously want to give Megan some time because she's been on duty. Just me with the 3 kids. What do?
Get pizza.
We're wrestling. We're wrestling for 45 minutes. And they're laughing, and I'm chasing them around the house. And I'm exhausted. I slept 2.5 hours, and I went right into a work day. I tried to, I worked to the point where I couldn't see my screen anymore on Monday morning, and I had to close my eyes for 20, 30 minutes. But I was just like, I'm a zombie right now. But I was able to, energy-wise, I was like, let's let it rip. Let's let it rip, because I can be here for my kids. That's the thing that I care about doing. Now, what's the cost of that? Want to know what I don't do in the gym anymore? I don't.
Cardio.
No, I do cardio. No, I don't lift as much weight as I can. I almost never lift as much weight as I can. I don't push myself to the point of failure. I don't do really, really, really heavy compound moves. As an example, I haven't barbell squatted in over 4 years. And people ask me all the time, why don't you do that? And for me, it's a cost benefit thing. What is the cost for me of doing it? And I'm not saying it's a bad exercise by any stretch of the imagination, but for me to challenge myself squatting, and again, this is not meant to sound arrogant, forgive me if it does, I would have to squat well over 400 pounds, probably over 450 pounds to get a set of 5. That's challenging for my legs. But you want to know what sucks about squatting 450 pounds? It's 450 freaking pounds.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of weight. And it's one weird move away from really hurting myself and not being able to do stuff. But also, that's exhausting for your central nervous system. And you want to know what I'm not going to want to do after squatting 450 pounds? Wrestle with my kids for 45 minutes. I'm just not going to want to do it. I'm not going to have the energy to do it. Or I'm not going to wrestle with my kids the night before because I don't want to get buried by the 450 pounds. That's not the decision I want to make. Is there anything wrong with wanting to squat 450 pounds? Of course not. That's a performance goal. You want to know as a performance goal? Wrestling with my kids. You get to decide what matters to you. If you want to lift as much weight as you possibly can, that's fine. There's a cost to it. You get to decide. If you want to be as lean as you possibly can, that's fine. There's a cost to it. You get to decide what it is that you want to do. But you have to be okay with the cost. You have to be okay with the cost. My fit life, mine, not yours, mine, is margaritas, pizza, be able to go for hikes, play with my kids, feel confident by the pool. I'm not going to be the leanest. I'm not going to be the strongest. I'm not going to be the most muscular, right? If you put me shirtless next to a lot of other trainers, you'd be like, especially with a shirt on, right? If you put me in a shirt on and a lineup of dudes, you'd be like, does this guy even lift? Does this guy even lift weights? Like, have you ever seen a gym before? This guy's going to teach me how to do it?
You're sneaky strong.
I'm like, you would, looking at me, I would surprise you. Like, that was what they said. They were like, oh, I wouldn't have thought you were as strong as you are. Like, I don't look very strong. I'm strong, like, for my size, but, like, you wouldn't think it. But, like, there are a lot of people who are way stronger than me for my size. There are a lot of people who are leaner than me or more muscular than me. There are a lot of people that could run faster than me. But there's also the flip side of that. There's a lot of people who maybe say yes to more things that I do in terms of drinks and stuff like that, because they maybe walk more or they're more active or whatever it is. And I choose to not necessarily work out a ton because of the timing stuff, right? This is the example that we gave the last time I did this, which was like, I don't work nearly as much as a lot of other people for the level of success that I have. And I have left success on the table in terms of financial gain on the table. And I'm not doing it perfectly by any stretch of the imagination, but like, I finish my work by 3:30, 4 o'clock every single day. I do not work on Wednesdays. I hang out with my oldest son. I have not worked a 5-day work week since I left teaching 6 years ago. I chose to do that. Like, I chose to do that. That is my rich life. I'm okay with not necessarily making as much. And that doesn't mean that other people are wrong for trying to pursue making more money. I choose it based on what I'm trying to do. But you have to understand what you're building toward. And I'll leave it with this. I tell a lot of my OTM students all the time, all my coaching students, because a lot of people have, when they post on social media, follow me for this. All right. I am not by any stretch of the imagination, as you look at my follower count. Dude is not out here killing social media, but I understand social media. I understand it. I just haven't put the effort into it because, again, cost versus benefit. I don't really want a huge follower count. I've had some posts go bonkers. I don't want random people on the internet commenting on my life. I'm cool with my small little following. I'm good with it. That's what, again, cost benefit. Like, what is the thing, right? But when people do posts, they're like, I had a conversation yesterday with a OTM student who was like, my reach is way down. Like, I'm not getting the views that I used to get. And I looked at her and I said, what is the goal of your posts right now? She's like, I don't know. And we talked about it for a little bit. And I was like, there are different posts that have different goals. And so you should measure the post, the success of the post, by the goal that it has. If you are making a relatable post that you are hoping goes viral and maybe gets you some more followers, like the goofy one that I did about the 60 degrees in October versus 50 degrees in February. Funny. That was funny. You want to know what that one got? That one got a good amount of reach. It got a lot of shares. It got a lot of comments. And it got a lot of the things that I was hoping that it would. Because I was like, it would be silly for me to be upset that I did not get coaching clients reaching out to me from that post. It would also be silly for me to have put on that post, hey, you know what you should do? You should send me a DM if you want to have coaching. I'm not talking about coaching. There's nothing, if you want a body like mine, like, that's dumb. It's dumb to, like, if you got to measure it by the thing that you're trying to do. If I was doing a different style post, which was like, for instance, the rare time when I do a post, it's like, hey, if you want coaching, I have some open spots. That post isn't going to go viral.
Right.
It's just not. It's not going to get a bunch of reach. It's not going to get a bunch of likes. It's not going to get a lot of comments. It's just not. What is the point of the post? The point of the post is for anybody who's ready for coaching to reach out to me for coaching. So I measure the success of the post by whether or not people reach out to me for coaching. We have to measure our success by the standard on the goal of what it is that we're trying to do. So we go bring this back to what it is that we're trying to do. What do I want? That's what the money's for. What am I trying to build? And then I measure my success by that standard. It would make no sense for me to measure the success of my business solely by the revenue. and compare it to other people who are spending a lot more time on their business. I'm measuring the success of my business by, one, how my clients are doing, sure, by the revenue, but most importantly, on my time freedom.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm measuring the success of the business, primarily. How am I measuring my health and my fitness goals? How do my clothes fit? How do I feel with my shirt off? Am I able to keep up with my kids? How are my energy levels? How are my strength? Am I able to enjoy my favorite foods guilt-free?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that I'm measuring the success by. You get to pick your metrics. You get to pick your money dials. You get to pick your fitness styles. You get to pick them, but then measure by the standard. And stop trying to live up to an objective standard. You get to pick which one is going to work the best for you. That's your fit life. Cool? Cool. Yeah, I don't have anything else for you. You know, if you want, I'm just gonna very soft. If you want help with your fit life, you know, you can message me for it or not. That's fine too. Like, that's the worst call to action ever, but I'm just gonna let you know. Like, listen, this is what I do, and so if you want help with it, you can ask for help, or if you want to do it yourself, do it yourself. But like, figure it out, figure it out, and then work backward to figure out what you need to do. Cool. All right, gang. Hey, quick thing, actually. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm willing to bet that you listen to other podcasts. Shoot me a message with other podcasts that you listen to. Ideally, like, not giant ones. Don't send me Joe Rogan or, you know, Diary of a CEO or anything like that, like the biggest podcast in the world. But like ones that are like, hey, this is a little bit niche. And don't send me like serial killer stuff, right? Like ones that I might be able to go on, because I would like to go be on. I would like to be a guest on some more podcasts, and I have the two things that I want to be able to talk about to different audiences are this one, the Fit Life, and the one from our most recent one that I think you and I recorded, which was leading behaviors. Those are the two things that I would like to talk about. So if there are audiences that you think might be interested in hearing about that in their context, I would love to hear about those, because if you listen to me here, maybe you're the type of person who listens to that podcast. And so it sounds like maybe the right audience for me to go talk to. So if you have that, if you want to shoot me a message, I would love to hear where you are listening. But appreciate y'all listening. Do all the things that you do, and we will talk to you next time.